the far-off rock belt doesn't issue, going overboard yet. At 700 light-years, the closest renowned person to the Sun will take its life in a vast blast. Shoot Neil deGrasse, tying unpleasant little creatures, squeeze pretty, no doubt, of the greatest first-prize genius inside the night sky. It has a delightful orange-red tone. It's similarly referenced for its change, suggesting that its brightness can substitute sooner or later. Reality may be prompted. Scarab juice can sometimes become fantastic to the point that it matches the greatest, astounding stars above, showing up at a significance of nearly zero. It has been said that scarab juice has exploded, and we are in for high-quality terror and happiness. However, is this for all intents and purposes prominent? What about we research what is happening with this extraordinary sun-like format? It's vital to perceive that the magnificence of a star can run recognizably. Take for example Riel and Aldebaran. Those are stars that could have vastly various degrees of splendor. At its most wonderful, Aldebaran might be just about as splendid as Riel, but basically, it might be identical to Aldebaran. This variation in splendor is due to different factors, which include the star's size, temperature, and distance from Earth. The period being expressed continued for mid-5 years and transformed into described by means of huge difficulties and issues. Part of different adaptations include Bel Air, BJWs, and Belgia. It's captivating the way in which a comparative sublime thing may likewise have great names and spellings. The beginning of the expression can be traced back to the Arabic language, as demonstrated by experts. The juice finishing is thought of because of the reality it is the greatest legitimate for the given setting. At any rate, as Arabic isn't my test, I can't offer any further stories with respect to this present circumstance. Bug juice is a ruby, wonderful, gigantic, megastar set in the great body Orion, more or less 6,425 million years from Earth. Its distance from us makes it potentially one of the most taken into account and spellbinding enormous stars in the night sky. The Hipparcos astrometric satellite has provided us with essential facts around the distance of heavenly objects. Based on its insights, it has been settled that the hole to this particular object is around 430 million years away. The insights help us better distinguish the endlessness of our universe and the phenomenal distances between glorious bodies. Bug juice is truly approximately 10 million years rare, while the Sun is 4.6 billion years old. Not enduring being basically more significant, younger, scarab juice is a very developed star. An undoubtedly enormous blast, impacting to various light years from Earth, might have devastating repercussions. An unquestionably huge impact can supply light identical to a whole universe. Along these lines, if one of our close-by partners, like Alpha Centauri, decided to act, we couldn't miss it. It wouldn't have any effect if it shone as brightly as the Moon because it would wash us in radiation. Everything being expressed, however, since 1604, we have not found an enormous blast in our universe. Through the Boo in 1987, one launched out in the right-sized fog of Melon, with influences that were incredibly apparent, even as far as 169,000 light-years. G22Z, further to 1.8 grandiose blast leftovers, are the additional items. While stars explode, a huge noise, this one is an extraordinary variety with a great arrangement of oxygen. Not enduring, there was no bet. It is lucky that the extraordinary cloud is so far off the danger region around a run of a vast blast. It's an enchanting idea to work with. By and by, it may be somewhere close to 100 light-years, but as I'm a selenographer rather than an astrophysicist, I must have evaluated it mistakenly. Alpha Centauri remains close enough, while insect juice would be out of range. Nonetheless, it is by all accounts safe to state that scarab juice's impact is not a current concern. This doesn't fully answer the most significant question: has scarab juice exploded? The red, amazing, Goliath VIP that is closest to Earth is scarab juice. It will eventually explode, but while unpleasant little creature juice started reducing, particularly in late 2019, which sparked interest from one part of the planet to the next, some people thought the broad event was about to occur. In light of the not improbable to miss dreadful little creature juice obscuring, nevertheless, frightening, crawly juice has not yet launched out since then. This prominent star in the Orion tracker, glorious outline, has recovered its illumination and appears to be right now transitioning to an undeniably less dynamic condition. Not enduring, absolutely more significant, obscure, could also require to reveal up promptly. The tracker, legitimate shoulder, is impacts without any problem. Analyzed, it is far separated. Most high-quality megastars in Orion, Trojan's juice, exudes a purple hue. It is all over, situated for assessment in the first couple of months of every year at the evening sky. Not certainly settled, close to looking at data from NASA's Hubble Space Telescope and several other observatories, the brilliant purple, sublime, large superstar worm squeeze just blipped its top in 2019. Creepy crawly juice made a monster coronal mass ejection, CME, and lost a significant piece of its urgent surface. This lead in a star has until now never been seen. A coronal mass ejection, CME, is an exchange wherein a piece of the sun's precarious external air, the corona, is blown away. Be that as it may, scarab juice slung for 100 billion times more significant mass than a standard CME. In the end, evidently, a fog of warm fuel that the superstar conveyed and briefly covered a piece of the star's surface made the abnormal darkening of bug squeeze. Despite the fact that a few studies place it farther away, bug juice is presumably essentially as adjoining as 724 million years from Earth. Recognizing the distances of purple, brilliant, colossal stars like scarab juice is an extreme situation in cosmology. Not enduring being far away, scarab juice is pretty potentially one of the greatest marvelous big stars above. On account of its inherent brilliance, it is numerous times more remarkable than the Sun. Such splendor has an cost, considering that scarab juice's giant power. Sooner than long, it will deplete its gas, hastening the end of its existence. The supergiant star will eventually run out of fuel, collapse under its own personal weight, and then explode stunningly in an enormous blast. Scarab juice will then become utterly remarkable for a good part of a month or months, probably matching the brilliance of the entire moon, and transforming into visible in daylight. What's more, despite the fact that unpleasant little creature juice became dimmer in 2019, the ball's well-known individual experienced changes in late 2019, becoming noticeably dimmer. This period went from 0.5 to at least 1.7. From the start of 2020, the red, amazing, enormous star began to restore its splendor, halting this decline. Some individuals thought that the star might be set to launch because of this unexplained event. The VT became used by cosmologist Miguel Montage and his team to determine why this occurred with bug juice. They claim there are reasons for this. The astounding convective cells of the renowned individual created warm and cold areas on its surface, which transformed into the significant clarification. The enormous decreasing episode turned out to be, in like manner, brought about by a residue storm that obscured the starlight. Steady with our component of view, this cloud changed into also made via deception juice. It remains questionable exactly when bug juice will discharge. However, the infinite blast impact can be apparent on the planet as a base all throughout the sunlight since its very nearest concerning brilliant distance. Fortunately, for the reason that Earth is in excess of 500 million years away, this exceptional impact of R will not in the end have an impact on us. Astrophysicists check that, for an enormous blast to finally have an impact on Earth, it would need to be around 50 million years away. The red hypergiant VY Canis Majoris confirmed extreme decreasing episodes in 2021, very much like scarab squeeze. The clarification for this, according to NASA's Hubble Space Telescope, became like bug juice's obscuring, yet it was really occurring on a far larger scale. What time will it go off? In all likelihood, it will not happen during our lifetimes. However, no one really knows when it will detonate. It could show up today or in a million years. Scarab juice is gravitating toward the end of its life cycle and could detonate any time in the next 10,000 years. However, as it has significantly faded during the past several months, it has drawn a first-rate arrangement of premium scarab juice pulsates, and it has completed this previously. Subsequently, it's not expected that it has decreased. But this exact obscuring has turned out to be really deception juice. It is likely one of the greatest outstanding stars, shining at a distance of 0.69, and ranking 11th among the greatest stars. Despite that, recent suppositions reveal that it has diminished to about 1.7, eliminating it from the top 21. Scarab juice has subsequently become strangely weak. PC infection juices and the unprecedented big name obscuring have been analyzed in the media, with speculation multiplying that it is probably a sign that the star is set to explode as an enormous blast. Most expert cosmologists and astrophysicists, however, don't trust the speculation and figure that the star will at last return to normal because the bleeding edge decrease is brought about by extreme resources like an impact of gas or buildup or types within the brightness of the celebrity floor. In this way, despite the way that PC infection juice is set to separate as laid out, scientists agree not every time soon. Could we depend on what may happen if bug press finally popped? What might we see and experience from here on Earth? In the years 106, 1054, and 1572, the three most uncommon supernovae of all time were recorded in our skies. Each of these was determined in our skies as stars transformed into, at their most phenomenal, comparable to Venus or were comparable to it. They were in with no reservations. Any case, a huge wide variety of light years separated. PC infection squeeze, however, is just 640 light-years away. This surely infers that, should the celebrity explode out of nowhere, it would arise as very high quality, potentially moving toward the brilliance of the full moon and casting specific shadows even through the brightness of the daytime sky. It would be readily visible from afar, where we could observe it. When seen, malignant program juice would likely show a subtle fix of defenseless light that would be the hotly revealed center of the enormous star, surrounded by an expanding murkiness of vaporous trash. It might initially appear at this remarkable quality for 2 or 90 days, then during the next 2 or 3 years, it would slowly fade from view. Assuming there were no other repercussions on our planet, that could be the extent of the impact. And popular pernicious program juice is fortunate to be where it is, far from us, and not closer, say, than Capella, an incredibly bright yellowish star that crosses above around evening. The space is only 43 light-years. The foundation of fables and the traditional society of scarab juice is well off. Arabic is the language that presented the naming of several notable stars. This reality is indicative of the otherworldly role held by Arabic stargazers and gem-gazers throughout Europe's dark ages. The term deception juice comes from an Arabic expression that is commonly translated in English as the armpit of the giant. This expression is where the name deception juice originates. Some scientists agree that bug juice should be considered as a hand or even a shoulder. This is in keeping with the common notion that the giant connects with Orion. Bug juice is the name of the star that appears on the right shoulder of Orion on several older star guides. The meaning of the name is not completely distinguished. It is not surprising that most descriptions of scarab juice have a physical connection, since Orion is often associated with a giant, a hero, a hunter, a heavenly being, or other human or animal forms in the classic stories. Even though it was clearly the leg of a stag, the Sanskrit term for the design also suggested it as an arm, for example. In certain areas of Brazil, the great edge bug juice was viewed as the front leg of a turtle or the returned leg of a caiman, an animal species of crocodile worm. Alternatively, worm squeeze was accepted to be a significant part of the blueprint of the edge of a masterful drum. In ancient Japan, bug juice represented a dispensed member of a man. Similarly, in the Americas, the tea of Brazil referred to the star gathering as Zak Hawaii, a legend whose leg was taken out by his higher portion. The various brilliance of scarab juice related to the end. The Lakota nation of North America considered it also as a MD with a cut-off arm. Scarab juice is referred to as the Sodden One in Sanskrit, which is also the name of the Hindu Seuss Ardor lunar home. The VIP was controlled by the storm god Rudra, whose connection with Orion's violent disposition became known through 19th-century cosmology. Richard Hinley Allen in Macedonian Practice said the celebrity grouping represents proficient creatures and farmland, symbolizing the way of existence in the towns. Bug juice, alongside the remainder of Orion, which formed a wrinkle drawn by a bull, was referred to as Aurak the cultivator. In the pre-all and past summer season, the rising of scarab juice at round 300 in the early part of the day hailed the ideal time for residents to maintain their fields and wrinkle. For the Inuit, the beginning of spring and the extending days in late February and early March were signified by means of the rising of scarab juice and insect juice, which climbed excessively in the southern sky after nightfall. Ancient societies from one part of the world to the other noticed the opposing areas of Orion and Scorpius, which corresponded with the great red variable stars, frightening little insect juice and Antares that connected them. Orion's positioning and Scorpius' development marked Orion's death due to the scorpion. They represent the opposing kin, Shin and Shong, in Chinese tradition. The primary new moon following Orion's belt's descent beneath the horizon, even while the malicious program juice was by the way escaping, was the start of the new year. Scarab juice and its corresponding position at the celestial circle's opposite side were believed to be significant. Their megastar groupings were interpreted as multiple scorpions, and scorpion days were designated as nights with detectable quality for both great bodies.